Welcome back to another episode of the Martinez Report. Today we'll be reacting to another Jubilee episode starring Amanda Seales, and she'll be debating 20 black conservatives. Let's get into it.
Greetings. I am Amanda Seales, widely known as a comedian, an actress, a disruptor, an annoying person on the internet who always tells the truth. And I am now an artistic intellectual who commits myself to making art that educates. And today, I am surrounded by 20 black conservatives. My first claim is it is undeniable that reparations are just and necessary.
Honestly, I would disagree simply with the idea that no, you don't need reparations, because if we're talking about, this whole video is about black people, black Americans, nobody that's alive today was a slave, and nobody that's alive today was a slave owner. Of course, we're talking about in America, because it's been, it's not legal anymore. So no, I don't think that, I don't think you need reparations if you're black in America.
Hello, Matt Nuclear?
Matt Nuclear, yes.
Matt Nuclear, give me a better handshake on that. Let's do it.
I appreciate having this conversation with a beautiful
Matt
Nuclear. This is nice, beautiful arena here. I disagree that reparations are necessary. I think the most important thing that's necessary right now for the black community would be the stopping of violence, especially black on black violence. I don't see how reparations is going to solve anything. You can give everyone here like a...
Is she going to deny that black on black violence isn't an issue? Because everyone knows it is, so...
$1,000 check, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently. A $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase the median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that black people kill each other according to the FBI?
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, and particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're gonna start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie all the time. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. No one here is in...
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe this?
I'm telling the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America. What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories, using black-only dormitories because black people feel safer amongst each other. But they're more likely to kill each other than white people are ever to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now. Okay? So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism, and we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off. When we talk about
apparently this country doesn't see Amanda Seales as an equal human compared to the rest of us. That's why she's been giving the platform of millions of viewers to speak, her babbles, whatever, her opinions, her thoughts. But I feel like that's such a great privilege. But apparently she still thinks that, people in this country see her as not equal, which is really sad, because she seems to be someone that's been very successful in her career, in both like the entertainment industry and now in like her activism. But even with all that success, she still thinks that she's somehow suppressed. which I'm sure she has the phone number of people like Oprah and Gayle King and stuff like that. How much more does she want to finally think that she is not oppressed? Like, geez, like, does she want to be a billionaire? But I thought people like her hated billionaires, so I don't necessarily see what she wants, but it seems to be that whatever she has in her life will never be enough.
How are you going to stop people from entering prison if your goal is to get them into prison?
Sure, make them try to be more like Ben Carson than be like King Von. That's very, very simple.
So how does King Von happen? How does King Von happen?
King Von
reparation.
Hold on,
Actually, no. Let me land the plane. We're talking about reparation.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know who King Von is. I'm assuming he's some sort of rapper, but I don't know who he is. Of course, we know who Ben Carson is, the very famous, very acclaimed black doctor who was actually the first person in the world to successfully separate conjoined twins, through surgery. He's a very famous brain surgeon who actually ran for president, like around the time that Donald Trump ran for president, and then eventually dropped out and then endorsed Donald Trump.
Reparations are just and necessary because on a basic level, black people built this country, and the country continues to thrive off of the labor that black people put into this country. And it would behoove you, young man, to really understand the way that your ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this nation that is still living off of those blood, sweat, and tears. And let me also add, there are reparations and then there is remunerations. Do you know the difference?
Yes, but can I finish one
No,
point that I wanted to
answer the
say?
question.
Ben Carson's cousins were killed at a very young...
I'm so sorry, you've been voted out by the majority. Okay. Please return to your seat.
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. We in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting.
I'm pretty sure the only actor there is you, Amanda Seales. Okay.
Oh, what's that on your chain?
This is corn from Israel.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, you got to go.
That's a choice that you are making for yourself.
Yes. The thing with the whole reparations thing, and I don't know, we're probably close to the same age, so maybe you can't call me.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
I'm 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
Really? Mm-hmm. Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Well, it's the liberal position.
That is priority to you than finding a fair way to accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well, our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity, and we have equal opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know. We had a black president, and we had a black vice president. I think she was black. I don't know. So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man?
White people.
White people. Because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this thing where, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have this liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity.
Do not bring up Harriet Tubman's name in vain, baby. Please.
In vain.
Harriet Tubman was literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
Who helped her?
Come on in.
You know who helped her?
God and
people who benefit from white supremacy. One of the things
it's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir,
it's
that's simply not true. If that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their culture. Black culture is toxic. The black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic. And let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the black home. Let's talk about that.
Stop.
Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work if y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit. It's not gonna work. No, it's a debate. It has to be in facts.
You're putting off emotional liberalism right now.
I am not putting off emotional liberalism.
She says she doesn't make any sense. She's saying a debate has to be made off facts, But then when the previous person, I forgot his name, the young man, was bringing up statistics and stats, she said stats are wrong and stats can lie. So how are you supposed to bring up facts which are backed up by statistics and stats that have been released and publicized, when she doesn't even believe those? So how would she form her opinion with things that wouldn't necessarily be factually true? Or is it all just her opinion, which it could be?
Off unfounded lies
That's what y'all
based
do. Y'all
in
start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they
It
did the
is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at
conservative
this man.
did. They said
You're carrying a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm black people and
What about the
non-Jewish
apartheid?
people. But let me bring it back. Let me bring it back.
Selling black people
Let me
in
bring
Africa.
it. That was not happening in the context that you're saying.
And they were selling
Let's
their own
bring it
people.
back.
Black people still sell their own people today too.
I don't know if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own people.
I don't know if I'm gonna
You
last.
probably won't last with me.
I won't, because your ignorance is so
See, y'all,
overwhelming.
that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all
No,
get
it's
defeated
not
in an
name
argument.
calling. You won't have an argument because you keep cutting me off.
Well, that's fine if they don't let me come
You
back
won't
up. I
even-
made my
you won't-
point.
She cuts him off too, so it doesn't matter.
Didn't make your
I made
point.
my point.
You haven't
And
made
I'm
your
okay
point.
with being
And let me
voted
just
out.
tell you about your point. You started off saying, we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not, though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work. But why should people who are sitting at home playing video games, smoking marijuana,
Are you sitting at
be
home playing a
given
video game?
checks?
Are
But
you
no, the
sitting at
people
home
that they-
playing a video
the
game?
people that they wanted
Am I
reparations
sitting at home
for-
playing a video game? No.
The people
And
that
I don't
want
know
reparations
I don't
for-
know who these people are that you're talking about, because the majority of the black community is not sitting at home playing video games.
majority of the black
Where are you
community is
getting
doing a
that
lot of
statistic?
things.
Where are you
A lot
getting
of
that
things is not
statistic?
right.
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
I knew I was gonna be surrounded by ignorance, but damn, let's go. My next claim is that black on black crime is a result of underinvestment and over-policing.
So you said that black...
How is the result of more black on black crime the result of over policing? The only logical explanation is that there's not enough police, or that the police are not giving the resources and even respect that they deserve to do their job in any city. You know, the famous black conservative Brandon Tatum, who goes by the Officer Tatum online, is very, very famous for saying that a lot of people think that the people who are the police in black neighborhoods don't care about the black people there. That's why they kind of let the crime go free. Or should I say let the crime run free? But Brandon Tatum really made a great point by saying that the people who choose to be law enforcement in black communities that are suffering do it out of deep love for that community and hope that they can improve it.
Hello.
How are you?
I follow her at The Pretty Conservative. I like her a lot. She's cool. I'm excited to see what she says.
Pretty good. Say less outfit. Okay.
Thank you.
So this is my thing. I think the premise of your question was black on black crime. So I think I'm coming from a place, and I guess my issue is having had my biological father murdered by a black man, having had my cousin shot in the head by a black man. We can talk numbers and statistics and what the people are doing, what the white man is doing, and all that. But at the end of the day, I see when my family lives on the south side of Chicago, and I think you and I both can attest to this, and I'm not saying that there are not other factors, but we know that we kill each other at a disproportionate rate than any other race. Now, why we do that, and why 6,000 to 9,000 black men are going to be homicided or killed or whatever by the end of the year annually by other black men, whereas the likelihood of a black man being killed by a white police officer is less than 150 per year, we know that we kill each other at a higher rate. So I'm not debating that there are not factors at play, but because I've lived the experience as a black woman losing my father to be murdered by a black man, walking down the street
by the way.
no worries, thank you. But walking down the street in inner cities and different things, knowing that it's more likely that my own brother will rob and rape me than a white man or a white officer, we gotta be real.
What's your proximity to white men? in the south side of Chicago? Are there even white men around to rob and rape you at the same rate that there are black men?
There are white men around.
At the same rate?
There wasn't a lot of black people in there, but then that doesn't justify the fact that we're destroying each other. So even if we get
Nothing,
like
we can agree on that,
okay,
sis.
because I feel like a lot of
Nothing
times liberals will
justifies,
argue like, well,
I'm not
the
a
white people
liberal.
are killing
I'm
people.
not a liberal.
Okay, well, I will say that people that sometimes have your stance that are against conservatives, maybe, they have this claim that they're making up the numbers. We know that we do that to each other. So I want to get to the root of the issue. Why are we killing each other? I think the root of the issue is we've lost our values and we've lost our resilience as black people. We sit there and we talk about what the white man did, and we talk about slavery and everything like that, but we have no self-accountability and say, you know what, at the end of the day, that is my black grandmother, that is my black sister, you are my black sister, and you know that a black man is more likely to rob you or commit some type of crime against you, and that's what we need to get down to the issue of. And like you were talking about earlier, like, hey, well, what's going on? You know, what do you think the answer is to one of the brothers that were speaking? I think it's the breakdown of the family. I think, like he said, because of our poor choices, and what happens is we look at domestic violence, for example. When domestic violence, women or men are even attacked, what is the first thing we say? It's like, you know what? It's not your what? It's not your fault. So that's what we do. We hold on to this narrative that, well, it's not our fault, and the issues in our community are not our fault, and the white man needs to give us something. The old white lady down the street is looking at me, and I don't know why she got braids in her hair. And we focus on all these other stupid things that don't matter. We don't get to the root of the fact that we're killing each other at a higher rate than any other race. It is self-hatred amongst us. I believe that we can do that. That my cousin, my mom's cousin, coming from the church parking lot, and guess who stuck her up and robbed her at gunpoint? A black man.
I need you to get to the point.
Like,
so
my
I can
point
respond.
is that no, and I'm not trying to be funny, unless like you said, we're gonna keep it respectful.
Yeah, but you're monopolizing the whole conversation.
I'm not trying. Okay, I'm gonna let you speak, but let's not get the attitudes and stuff. Because you're my sister, and I respect you. So
I don't have an attitude. I'm being direct to you, but you're literally speaking this, and you're not going to do that with me either.
Okay,
so you're stating your point, and you've been stating your point for quite some time.
So say
you have
the
a
proper
reason
ways.
for
Would
me
you
to
like?
respond.
Would you allow me to respond? So that's a better response. Go ahead.
The response that I have for you is that everything you're saying does not exist in a vacuum. I actually agree with you in that, yes, there has been an incredible denigration of black worth and black pride in this nation. I think it's also very important to acknowledge what has contributed to that. And to state that it is only black people that have contributed to that is a false flag. So we have to admit that. So in order to have this conversation around how we got here, you can't say, oh, well, we're caring about the white woman getting braids and that doesn't matter and this thing. All of that attaches. All of that is actually a very big part of the lack of worth of black people.
I'll ask you, do you think we're resilient? What does resilience mean to you? Do you think we have to be perpetual victims, or do you think that black people are resilient?
I think that those are two different conversations. I think that the concept of black people being victims is really trying to not provide accountability to where the root problem for the actual cause is. And if we keep saying that somebody is a victim and that doesn't mean that the other person should have to actually have accountability, then what are we really doing? You can do both. You can be a victim and be resilient.
How do we do both if you stay in the victimhood? That's my question.
But your statement about black people staying in the victim place is also your point of view.
But how do we rise above it?
We continue to rise above it by, one, pouring into our communities with mutual aid, but two, by simultaneously making sure that we are challenging the systems that are in place to impede us. We have so many opportunities where we are trying to do mutual aid, and those things get disrupted by folks who want to have capitalist gain, by folks who want privatization. We used to have all these mom and pop businesses in our communities.
There's over 3 million black billionaires in America right now. You are an intelligent black woman that is successful.
That's irrelevant.
No one's stopping me from doing anything. I'm an intelligent black woman that
Many
graduated
efforts
and is
have
successful.
tried to stop me from doing what I do. We are not all equal in our capabilities. And we are not all equal in our ability to be invested in by others.
I agree with
we are not all equal in our
resilient.
trauma.
Are we resilient?
We can't say because it is a false equivalency.
I believe that every black person has resilience.
We keep trying, but we keep trying to cause.
I'm so sorry, you've been voted out.
I think institutions such as things with DEI.
What do you think DEI is?
Basically, I think that it's in a way it's racism against other races outside of blacks. And so,
where did you get that concept of it from?
I've researched a lot of things. I looked at different clips from both sides of the argument, things like that. But basically, my point is, I think that as far as systematic racism, I think that there's evidence from the other side, and that there's different things that are pushing black people up in ways that are not fair.
When we talk about DEI, the concept of DEI is not about lowering a standard. It's about widening the options. So we live in a nation that I feel like a lot of y'all are looking at the United States as a long history of something. We have a short history, all right? For 400 years, there was slavery. Black people were not even considered whole humans. We were 3/5 human. After the Civil War, during Reconstruction, Black people were then subjected to the Black Laws. The Black Laws were specifically for Black people. The Black Laws incarcerated Black people at such an exorbitant rate that they were able to get another slave labor force through the 13th Amendment, because you had Black people that were serving entire life, like months-long, years-long years-long sentences for jaywalking.
Okay.
So when we look at these things, we act as if, well, why can't we just get over that? That's 2 generations previous, okay? So if a father in the early 1900s was incarcerated for 2 years, how do you think that would impede their family from being able to grow, right?
Sure.
Now you're affecting the ability for their children to have 2 parents in the home. You also now have a mother who's like incredibly stressed and may have to always be working, so she's not able to parent, etc. We also know that there is a continued effort in this nation to not have Black people know the history of this nation. Like our good sis here was talking about, like, we have resilience, but this nation actively works systemically to keep that from us, right? We look in Florida at the laws that they are passing to not allow education about our past. And we know that if we don't know where we came from, how can we know where we're going?
Sure, okay.
All right, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
All good.
That's flags.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, she made a lot of good points there. Wow, it's actually like, it's quite interesting because we do talk about, how slavery was like 200 years ago, but that doesn't mean everything was fixed since then. And the idea that, they didn't fact check her, but if the idea that she's, that this stuff was happening like 2 generations ago in the early 1900s, it's very interesting, although she did say it, that is 100 years ago at this point, but it is very interesting.
Hi again. We cool now?
We good. We good. I think we're on the same. We're kind of looking at the same side of the same coin, and I think because I think we both want the betterment of the Black community, and I think we're maybe coming from it from different ways. And so I do respect your position to what you were saying as well, that there are certain things and powers at play. And I've experienced racism firsthand. A lot of conservatives may try to act like, oh, there's no racism in America. I absolutely believe there is racism in America. I believe racist people exist. I just don't think that the systems as they stand today are inherently racist, because I've seen too many Black people overcome. And I just feel like a lot of times what's left out of the dialogue is self-accountability and like self-will. We talked about how we were 3/5 of a person, but now we are 100%, I guess, according to the law or whatever, a person. And I feel like
is she gonna disagree with that? What? Like, what? Amanda Seals, you are such an accomplished person. You are, I'm assuming, a millionaire. You are in like reality shows. You are in television series. You are in movies. You have over 1 million followers. You have a big platform. How do you still think that people don't see you as a full human being, or at least the government does it? Like, she is, like, people probably look up to this woman, and she doesn't see herself as a full human. Like, that's really sad.
Of the day, if you wanted to walk out here right now and decide, you know what, I want to change my career, I want to do that, you can. And that's why so many people, and Nigerians come here, and Indians come here, and so many people who are not white, who are supposed to be discriminated against because they're not white, they come here and they become doctors and lawyers. Why? Because to your point, there's community. There's a sense of pride about, you know what, I got to go honor my parents back in Nigeria. I'm part Nigerian. I have to go honor my parents. I have to go honor my elders. They're not twerking and shaking booty. They're getting
They are literally twerking and shaking booty in Nigeria.
They're also doing that here in America, so.
No, I ain't doing it. If they are
We
twerking and shaking, but
literally
they
learned it
doctors
from Africa.
They're doctors twerking and shaking.
We literally
booty, so
have
maybe
it
they
from
can shake
Africa.
because they got
But
the money to
I
back
think
it up.
that's
So do you see what
unfair
you're saying? Do
generalization.
you see what I'm saying, though? We have to be honest, Amanda. When
Well,
Indians
as a fellow daughter of an immigrant,
Okay.
right? So my mother's from Grenada. My mother did come here and was able to work and was able to get green cards
Props
for
to her.
folks. So shout out to my mom. There's a very big difference in growing up somewhere and coming from a place where you are the majority and where your people are running the show, than being somewhere where your people have been subjugated the entire time your people have been
But your
here.
mama came here and she wasn't the majority, so how did
No.
she succeed?
She succeeded because she came here with the fortitude of coming from a place.
Her resilience, right?
No, but
and she had her village.
let me say what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll let you unpack.
If we don't acknowledge divide and conquer in the United States, we are having a pointless conversation.
I agree.
We have to acknowledge that there is a concerted effort at divide and conquer in the United States. We're literally watching it happen right now with an effort to divide and conquer and have black people fighting immigrants and have black people saying that immigrants don't matter.
And so fighting white people.
White people is not the point. The concept of white people is about people who are upholding a supremacy of whiteness versus people who understand that there should be an egalitarianism. There should be an equality.
We are becoming the new white supremacists.
We are.
We've been putting them on a pedestal.
We are.
We feel like we can't do anything.
No, it's not that we're putting them. It's not that we're putting them on a pedestal. It's that we are joining them and instead weaponizing our blackness against our people. When we do what you're saying, we are saying, I am better.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Caught me off guard.
Just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Because I figured it out, and so you're the problem because you didn't figure it out.
But what about if I believe that the American dream is, I have a right to that as well? Is that me joining white people, or is that me saying, you know what, I want a life for my dream? The American dream for me, because it may look different from other people. Some people it's a boss chick. For me, I want my kids to grow up in a wonderful neighborhood. I want them to go to college. I want to have a 401k. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I feel like a lot of times in the black community, we associate anything that's right or that's just or that's striving forward with whiteness. So when you say that we're working with them,
it's whiteness, it's capitalism. And I think that's what we have to understand the difference of. The concept of capitalism always is grounded in exploitation.
But black people, not in general, but black people can benefit from capitalism as well. Obviously, I'm sure Amanda Seales and everything that she does and all her business ventures, she benefits from capitalism as well. So, you know, she's not the one to speak on that. She's probably more successful than everyone in this room, but she's the one saying that people don't see her as a human. The government sees her as like less than a human, and the government treats her really bad because she's black. Oh my gosh.
We're sitting here benefiting from capitalism, and you know that because you would.
I understand that we are benefiting. I understand that we are benefiting from capitalism, but I also understand that we would have other people and a majority of people benefit if we were not solely capitalist. That is what it means to be a black radical. It's to understand that I can benefit as well as others.
So, Amanda, what is your solution then? Because we know that capitalism benefits us, and people are coming here every day.
My solution is what I continue to say. We need to have coalition building across cultural differences, across ethnicities, across classes.
And that includes collaborating with white people.
I've never said it didn't.
But I
this obsession with white people fails to acknowledge the fact that there are people who benefit from white supremacy.
But we live in America,
let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
There are people who benefit from white supremacy that do not identify themselves as white. They don't consider that to be the most important element of their identity because they understand that at the end of the day, we need to see each other as humans that all deserve a right to exist.
Exactly.
We all deserve a right to exist, and I shouldn't have to earn my right to exist. And that is what capitalism does.
What makes you think that you have to earn it? That's what I'm saying.
That is what this nation is. You do have to earn it.
You do.
Yes, you do. That is why we are criminalizing the poor. We are criminalizing the poor on a regular basis. How so? Because we're not even allowing for a wage to happen to allow people to get out of poverty. We are seeing inflation grow.
We both have people in our family that have done it, so we can't.
No, we have not had people that have done it. My mother came to America with an entire nursing degree. I can't say, oh, well, my mother did it. Why can't you? Because my mother
was pregnant at 19 from the south side of Chicago with no degree and still made
good for your mom. But this is the thing.
So we can't do it.
It's not. The question isn't whether or not some people can do it. The question and the reality is that it is not available to everyone in an equal way.
And that's unfortunate, man. But you know we live in a broken society. I went to Nigeria and they're having the same problems. And there's a bunch of black people that are running Nigeria.
It's a broken society.
But it's the same thing in Nigeria.
But Nigeria is a broken society, whereas Burkina Faso is not. Burkina Faso is not.
That's time.
My final claim is.
To be honest, like Amanda Seales, I understand what she's saying, and she wants not just herself and other, people like Oprah and Tyler Perry to be the only black people that succeed and to kind of leave the rest of them behind. But she doesn't bring a solution. She's saying, there's a lot of black people who are not given the best opportunities in life, which is undoubtable, it's true, but she wants to somehow give free handouts to every single black person in order to lift them up. But she fails to understand the fact that just because that the reason that people don't succeed is not 100% of the reason. 100% of the reason is not because they're black. It could just be because of other circumstances. And if you don't believe it, it's just a fact, because there are people of all races, all different groups of people that don't succeed. And it doesn't mean it's because they're not black. So it's not because of that. There's white people who are homeless too. So what about that? Does Amanda not care about people that are homeless just because they're white? or is it just, I guess she's trying to uplift her own community, but she's failing to understand that there's people on from every walk of life, from every religion, from every race that are also suffering. So we can't just focus on black people, because it's pointless. She made it, and she should, try to, help others, but not just because they're black, just because they're human.
Faso is not. Burkina Faso is not. That's my final claim is black conservatism fails to meet the needs of the working class.
So far, I've been a little bit disappointed in what these black conservatives have been saying, but I think it's just Amanda doesn't give them the opportunity to talk. She really cuts them off, and then is the one saying, "Don't cut me off." Like, come on, Amanda, you're doing what you're saying that they're doing to you.
Hi,
Layla.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I would actually argue that the black working class is failing themselves. Wouldn't you agree that, in order to get a job, in order to qualify for a certain position and an education system at a job, wouldn't you argue that it should be based off of qualifications and not your race or identity?
I've never argued that. I've never argued that. That's not
I
be the
know
case.
that you were saying that you would argue that it should be equal, right? So you're saying that there should be black Americans in education systems, in jobs, but wouldn't you argue that they should be qualified for those positions and not just placed there because of their skin color?
I've never disapproved that.
Okay, so let's
That's not what DEI is.
Okay.
Do you know that?
Well, I'm not talking about DEI right
Oh.
now. Well,
Because you're suggesting that I suggested that somebody should get a job just because they're black. And I've never
Well,
asserted anything like that.
I understand that you may not say that exactly, but a lot
No, I
of the
didn't say
claims
that at
are,
all.
they're pointing to that.
No, it's not pointing
so-
to that.
okay.
And so that is that I need to clear this up because
Okay.
it's a really important point.
Okay.
We live in a nation that has actively pedestaled white people. Can we all agree on that? That we
In
no,
the past,
we can't.
in the
Okay,
past,
in the
but
past.
not currently,
In the past.
but not currently.
So okay, fair.
Okay.
Okay. So how many black people are part of this administration's cabinet?
I'm not sure. Can you tell me?
Zero.
Can you fill me in?
Zero.
Oh.
Who?
So seems like there may be a
That's
couple.
not a cabinet.
I don't know.
Scott Turner.
Okay.
Okay.
So there are.
So we got two.
So there are.
So we got two.
Can we
got
also,
two. We got two.
um,
So back to your point, DEI is about expanding,
Oh yes. Okay.
not lowering credibility.
Okay.
So if we have a system that has very actively said these particular people are the best people
Okay.
simply because of their race, DEI said, or their gender,
Okay.
because DEI mostly leveled up white women.
Okay. So it would be incorrect if it's if we're pointing toward this a majority of race is qualified because of the base of their skin.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether they're
Okay.
white, black. I
Okay,
mean, race
great.
is fake anyway.
Now, I do want to
so-
touch on a point that you did mention earlier that you would argue that, black people have less opportunities in America. I do not agree with that. I have not had,
First of all, you're a light-skinned woman.
So are you.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, so now Amanda Seales is like, the spokesperson for the dark skins. I mean, is she gonna like attack this young woman because she's okay? It's like Amanda Seales. I'm gonna say it again. She's like the epitome of black person succeeding, and she doesn't see it. She still thinks that she's like like she hasn't made it yet when she clearly has. Like, she's been invited to a Jubilee episode where she's gonna get millions of views on this video. She already has. A lot of people agree with her, so I don't know why she always, this entire video, she's been acting, nobody listens to me, people don't see me as a human, but they clearly do, and a lot of people clearly look up to you, so, like, stop, get your head out of your, so, like, I just feel like she doesn't appreciate what she's accomplished, which is really sad, because a lot of people will spend their entire lives trying to accomplish what Amanda Seales has done. She's only in her mid-40s. So, I just wish that she wouldn't be so hard on herself because she's black. I think that's part of her appeal, and that's great.
And
Doing
so
great for
colorism,
yourself.
yes, and so colorism really does
But
serve us.
I do want to say, why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that? Do you think it's just based off the color of our skin, or do you think it's based off of the reputation that black people make for themselves?
What reputation are black people making for
What
themselves?
would you argue? Because I mean, when I look at
who makes the reputation
let's
for
look
black
at,
people?
Let's look at music, for example.
We already had this conversation with somebody else.
Well, we're gonna have it again. Most of the people that
are we?
Most of the people.
I'm gonna shut it
most
down
of
right
the
now and
black
let you know that the reality is that when you come to black music, for you to say most of the people, you've already lost the argument.
Am I right?
There is no most of the people with black
Most
people
of-
because you haven't heard of all of black
most
music.
of no most
So
of,
let's
but
start
most
there.
of the music that is, let's say, maybe exalted or shown by
And
the
who
media,
controls-
right?
and who controls those systems?
It defiles
And-
black.
Who controls the system? Like the biggest, black musicians are all under, Rock Nation, which is under Jay-Z. You have, those labels, those rap labels, they're all the same type of music, and they're owned by, a lot of black people. Obviously not all of them, but a lot of black people are in charge of the music that's being put out. There's no mistake about that. All these black artists that are very, derogatory are not pushed by, white men in suits and ties. So, like, is Amanda Seales gonna blame people like Sexy Red on a white man? I very much doubt that a white man is responsible for the unfortunate case of Sexy Red. Oh, he's back.
So let's talk about facts. I just want to move back to systemic racism because you mentioned systemic racism earlier. I just want to look at 3 applications of systemic racism against white people and against East Asians as well. So, for example, we have the National College Attainment Network, which defines affirmative action or even race-conscious admissions as taking race as one of the factors in whether or not you're going to admit a student. And we noticed that when race-conscious admissions was out of it, black enrollment dropped 64% at UC Berkeley. And that is an act of systemic racism, trying to look at people's races and allow them into colleges whether or not they're of a set race is racism. And it's race conscious. And Martin Luther King's most famous quote is that he doesn't want his children to be judged based on race, but by the content of their character. And the content of people's characters also includes merit. We have another example of systemic racism. Burgess Owens, he's a representative out of Utah. He's a black Republican representative. He called out the MIT president for having black-only dormitories. I mean, what does that mean? Why are we trying to segregate each other and say that black people feel safer amongst black people when the truth is they are actually more in danger when they're around black people? And that's unfortunate. It's sad that I'm saying this, but it's the case, and I have to say it because it's true, okay? Black people are killing each other at a vast, crazy rate. Black men rapping about it. It's savagery. It's barbaric. And we shouldn't be doing it as a people. We should try to get more Ben Carsons. Ben Carson's cousins were murdered when he was younger, but his mother came to him and gave him a book and told Ben Carson to read and study so to not be like his cousins. And Ben Carson separated 2 twins at the back of the head, and he's known as one of the best pronounced neurologists or neuroscientists that we've ever seen, right?
Ben Carson said that slaves were immigrants.
Well, they were brought here to the United States, and many of them were slaves, and we know that to be a fact.
What is the difference between someone being an immigrant and being a stolen person?
I mean, I understand that many people were stolen here, but 90% of historians agree that slavery would have not been possible if black slave owners within Africa didn't sell off their people. White people didn't show up and just start stealing people. They didn't do that. That's not how that worked.
They literally did that.
But they didn't. They worked with black owners and the Arabs.
Literally
the same thing.
did that.
It's funny,
and
you guys talk
Arabs
about
did that
Europe.
as well. And I think it's
They
very
did it in the
important.
7th
And I
century.
think it's important to note that there is an oversimplification of history as well as of black people in Africa. There's a failure to acknowledge that in Africa, black people did not consider themselves black people. That was a racial distinction that was solely created by white oppressors to legitimize slavery.
Arab oppressors, actually. The Arabs did it in the 7th
To
century. They
legitimize,
were the first ones.
they did not name it under blackness. They simply just decided we're going to go and have enslavers. This was a decision that was actualized and then tried to be pushed forward through eugenics. Literally, there was an executive order that was passed a few months ago that said that Donald Trump wants to now control the museums because he wants to take back control of the narrative around race. And in one of these museums that they cited was that there was a display that speaks about race not as a biological thing, but as something that has just been created as a social construct. And he stated that that is an incorrect expression of race, that race is biological.
But it is biological. Like, let's look at our phenotypical traits, the nose
Oh,
differences,
wow.
the hair texture. It's a biological thing.
Oh,
Sure, there's
baby.
a
It is
social
not,
concept, but there's
sir,
biological
okay,
differences that
sir,
exist. It's
you're
fine.
very convicted in your
You look
lack of
different.
information
People can look
around
different.
these things. Race and ethnicity are 2 different things, okay?
I'm talking about
Ethnicity
race.
is where you're from. Race is literally something that was created to put people into categories of caste, to put people into categories of oppression. Race is not something that you are. Race is something that was bestowed and put
That's
upon you.
That's racism, not race. Race is
No,
simply the
race
aggregation.
is literally something that was created and put upon you. And I want you to listen to me as somebody who has studied this, who has a master's in African American Studies from the Institute for Research in African American Studies at Columbia University. I want you to understand very clearly that race is not something that is biological. There is literally
Look at us.
no.
Look at the differences.
There is many differences that are equated to ours that
And
has
they're
nothing
not
to do with
biological.
race.
Melanin
It has nothing to
content
do
is
with
not
race.
biological at
so
all.
if you have a black parent and you have a white parent, and now you come out looking white, how is that a biological
But most
proof of your
of them,
race?
most of them
There's
come
no
out
most of them.
having curly hair.
Stop. There's no most of them. You do not
Mixed
have
race.
anything to
You're
prove
mixed
that.
race too.
I am not mixed race. My mother is black and my father is black.
Well, my father is also considered black, but he's very much has a lot of European DNA.
You know what I think? I think that you are at a phase of your learning where you are a contrarian, and I look forward to seeing your development because I have a feeling that you're actually going to flip the script eventually, because you are somebody that definitely is grounded in wanting to learn facts and wanting to learn the truths of things. However, you're currently still stuck in an indoctrinated space that is tricking you into thinking that you are something that you are not. You are a black person who is literally having to receive the results of racism, but ultimately you are of an ethnicity that has thrived in spite of it. And that is where we really exist from. And that is where our resilience comes from in spite of systemic racism.
I think our resilience is happening now. I think growing, understanding the real problems, not going out and trying to protest against. You guys don't ever do this. KTS.
You
Dre,
guys don't ever do that.
KTS
Who is
Dre.
you guys?
Members of the black community don't want to hold people accountable, especially black people. So KTS Dre was shot 60 times outside of Cook County, Chicago. How many BLM members came out? You earlier said BLM
Stop
is it all
referring
police?
to me as you guys.
Okay, that's fine. So, for example, we had a really good example of this where it's not a police, because I remember you
Where
said...
are you from?
Where am I from? What do you mean by that? Like, what state am I from? Where was
Where
I born?
where do you live right now?
I live in Florida. I was born in Angola, though. I was born in sub-Saharan Africa, okay?
Where did you grow up for most of your time?
In Maine. I lived in North America.
In Maine?
Yes.
And what is the population of black people in the town that you're from?
It's really extremely low, but I grew up around black people, and there was a black community where I lived.
And that black community that you lived in, did they teach you about black history in the United States?
I
Like,
learned black history.
Are your parents black American?
Yeah, my mom is black. My father is black.
No, I'm asking, were they born in the United States?
No, because I wasn't born there.
Oh, so you guys are all from Angola?
Yes, but again, like I told you earlier, right? In terms of people like KTS Dre that were shot, BLM doesn't come out for them. And I remember you earlier said,
think it's really
hold on, can I
important.
please finish? You earlier said that BLM is worried about police, but when Daniel Penny choked out the man that we all know was causing violence on that subway train,
He was not causing violence.
He was threatening
causing
people.
disruption is not causing violence.
He was threatening people.
Causing disruption is not
And the
causing
people
violence.
there-
As the daughter of an immigrant, it is imperative that black people from other places understand the disparate difference that they exist from black people in the United States. It is not the same, period. And ultimately, the best effort that we can do as a diaspora is to lead in understanding, not in judgment. So when I am talking to somebody from Sudan, from the Congo, from Angola, I am listening to understand their experience, not to undermine it. And I refuse to allow anybody from Grenada, from Angola, from any other place to come and try to undermine the experience of black Americans.
I have to say I learned a lot in this video. I'm not even gonna lie, from both perspectives, from the black conservatives as well as Amanda Seales. I have to say I did not expect her to be so knowledgeable on so many things, and I did learn a lot from her. And I have to say it did give me a lot to think about. However, I guess one thing I'd say is that Amanda Seales is very, very, very knowledgeable on the past. And I can't help but think that in some fashion, Amanda Seales is so focused on the past that she in some ways thinks that we are still living in that today. And we're not, because she is talking about, yes, the past is very bad, and you can't deny that. We're talking in this instance about black people. However, in today's day, there's so little stopping black people, and I wish she would realize that, because yes, the past was horrid, no doubt about that, but everyone in this room is proof that you can get ahead, and the idea that black conservatives even exist is proof of that. And a lot of people, liberals, I know Amanda Seales doesn't consider herself a liberal, but a lot of people who lean left would like constantly, you know, demoralize black conservatives and discredit them and say that they're dumb and they don't know what's going on. But oftentimes they know a lot more, and they understand that, you know, the past is bad, but you can get ahead, you can move forward. And are we really going to hold America as a whole responsible for stuff that happened hundreds of years ago, and, you know, in certain cases, you know, a few decades ago? Like, no, because if we focus on the past so much, we'll never get ahead. And yes, it's important, obviously, to understand the past and to know what happened so that we don't repeat it. But it doesn't mean that we're living in the past. Like, sure, we can, you know and study the past, and that's great, of course. But know that it's the past for a reason. It's not the past and present, it's the past. And we will do our best to make sure that it's not the present or the future. And that is the case, that it's no longer the present. It's the past. And I would go ahead and say that everyone in this room, including Amanda Seales, are very knowledgeable, and they all believe what they believe for many reasons, and I applaud them for that. And Amanda Seales is a very smart woman, and I will say that I didn't like her kind of bursting out and like doing personal remarks and personal attacks at people, but at the end of the day, she's very smart, and she did have a lot of great points. And it's funny because I was under the impression that she would be, you know, like a black liberal, but she's not. She's a black radical. I don't necessarily know what category she would go on. If in the end she agreed with him that the black community should abandon the Democrats, and of course she added on they should abandon the Republicans as well. But I have to say, it was a very interesting conversation, and it's given me a lot to think about. And it's very interesting to see how people with the same information could have two different ways of thinking on those certain bits of information, and how different types of people, even though they're both black, they have different ideologies and different ways of seeing how things went. And it was a very interesting conversation. And I do look forward to reacting to more Jubilee episodes. I think sometimes the format isn't necessarily the best because people get cut off, people get voted out. But at the end of the day, it is very informative for many people, many viewers of the channel who are eager to learn. And I have to say, myself, I learned a lot in this episode. And I have to say, if Jubilee ever does a video in the future, which is like one Latino liberal versus 20 Hispanic conservatives, I think it'd be really cool. Because especially with like immigration and stuff like that, it's a very hot topic. And like, I'm like, you know, Jubilee, invite me over. I'd happily go in as a as a Latin conservative. But yeah, it was very interesting. And yeah, you know, let me know your thoughts. I have to say, in this video, I didn't necessarily have a lot of thoughts because a lot of it I was just like taking in the information, because it was a lot of information in comparison to like the previous Jubilee episode that I reacted to, which was Candace Owens, kind of like going back and forth. Feminists, I had a lot more to say, but in this one I had a lot more like taking in stuff. And so, you know, if you enjoyed the video, let me know down below your comments, leave a like, you know, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.